Welcome to the Lead at Home podcast, where every episode is about learning how to develop our parenting skills to achieve the best for our children. Here are your hosts, Sarah Franco and Jala Gaines.
Hey, welcome to our Lead at Home podcast. I'm Sarah, here with
Jala.
Wonderful Jala.
Yes.
And so glad that we could be here today. Just loving life. And today we're going to be talking about leading at home with intentionality. And that I have found to be, I go through spurts, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I can be really good about being intentional for a short season, and then I kind of...
That's true.
True. So it can be difficult to kind of maintain that. But I think I was reading this one book, and it had talked about the difference between the opposite. It was about being intentional in your parenting specifically.
Yeah.
But the opposite of that is a quick fix parent. So sometimes I think, being intentional, let's face it, being intentional takes energy.
Yes.
And a lot more thought.
Yes.
And time. And sometimes we're just, I'm done, at least I am. And I'm assuming we all go through those times. So to be intentional, and again, we're talking about any of our relationships in our home.
Yeah.
But I think specifically, for me, I wanted to just discuss for a minute the issue of parenting with the being intentional versus quick fix. Because a quick fix would be like yelling at your child when they do something, or just a quick, reprimand,
Shooing them off.
Them off, yelling across the room if you see them, instead of okay, let's connect eye to eye, maybe having a plan for discipline ahead of time.
Yeah.
As far as this is what this is going to look like, and I can say, again, there are seasons I did this well and seasons that I did not do it so well with my kids. But even too, in how I spend my time with my children. I was a stay-at-home mom, pretty much through, I just have a part-time job now that is not a ton of hours. So I still, in some ways, consider myself a stay-at-home mom. And so for 20 plus years. And I can say, and looking back, there are probably times that it was like, okay, I could have been in the same room, but not really engaged with my children.
Yeah.
And especially, I have found it a lot more challenging since smartphones in particularly arrived on the scene.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, and my kids really got on me. They tease me because I went through this. Did you ever play Bejeweled Blitz?
Bejeweled Blitz.
It's like one of those games on...
I think it's like Candy Crush, right?
Yeah, kind of like Candy Crush. I just got so sucked into that game, and I would just sit there.
That's so funny.
And my kids are there in the home, and they still vividly remember me playing this.
Wow.
And so here I was so engrossed in this little video game that I wasn't really being intentional with that time. Because I think being intentional to me means that I would look at this video game versus my children and say, my children are what's more important right now. They're the ones I'm going to pour into right now. The video game is for my own free time when I am alone and have nothing else to do, then I can do that.
Yeah.
Or if I want to say, okay, for 10 minutes, I'm going to set the timer and I've got these 10 minutes or nap time, whatever.
Yeah.
But to have your children there and you're basically ignoring them, to constantly be looking at your phone.
Yeah.
The phone is, to me, one of the biggest challenges.
No, same. I would agree with you.
Right. Whether it would be with, and I know I've expressed to my husband, can you please not have it at the table? Or because we're big on family dinners.
Yep.
And so I think even that is being intentional. To have traditions
Yeah.
is being intentional.
Yeah.
You know, for us, we have dinner together almost every single night. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but we're together and it's an opportunity because that's an intentional way to connect. But if we've all got our phones at the table,
No one's talking.
it ceases to be intentional at that point.
Yeah.
But for you guys, what are things that you've done that have you found like this is an intentional thing, ways that we connect as a couple, or even in traditions or what you do with other people too?
I'd say that one of the things that we do to stay intentional with one another, me and my husband, is our daughter has a pretty set bedtime of around 7 every night.
Yes.
Yes, it is nice.
I remember those days. That was nice.
It's really nice. And she's a really great sleeper. So we put her down, and what we do is, we take that time and we say, like, we're disconnecting from our phones. We're disconnecting from the TV. Sometimes it is the TV, like, we'll watch something together, but
Right.
we disconnect from basically our electronics, and we just take time and kind of recap our day.
I love that.
Just talk about, like, what was something you liked, what was something that, what's something on your mind, what's something you might be struggling with right now, and we just talk. And I love talking. I love talking with my husband. And when your life is so busy like that, taking that time to, like, we're going to sit here and be present with each other, it's just really beneficial. And I feel like we grow closer through that time. So that's definitely one of the things. We also wake up around the same time in the morning, because there was a time where he was getting up earlier than me, or vice versa. And I felt like we would miss out on the morning together because he'd be out the door, or I'd be out the door, we'd both be out the door. And I feel like the whole day has gone by and I don't get to talk to him until like 5. And so we wake up at the same time, much earlier than we were waking up before. And that has also benefited us a ton. And we were even just talking about it this morning, like, this has been so nice, just getting up together and being able to, like, hug each other. Like, it's just so, I don't know.
It's a good way to start your day.
It is a great way to start your day.
Who doesn't want to start your day with a hug? I love that. I think, it's one of those things that sometimes we can be so intentional in so many other areas of our life. With work, I feel like work almost forces you to be intentional. And so at home, it's kind of like,
I just want to,
it's just, this is my place to relax. And it is, I feel very strongly about that. The home is like this sanctuary type of place where it's just, you come to escape from all the cares of the world, right? But at the same time, like, these are the people that really are the biggest part of our lives.
I know.
And they're going to be with you all through your life, unlike a job where someone that might be more of a season of your life. And so I just want to encourage everybody, to find ways to be intentional, and it might even be using your phone to send a text or give a call to your loved one. If you can't wake up nice and early, like Jayla and her husband. I know my husband is not an early morning person, and sleep can be a struggle for him. And so, or sometimes with work schedules, I know someone else whose husband goes to work at 3 a.m. Well, that might be a little hard. But I think sometimes it does require sacrifice to do that. My sister and her husband, they're just such a really strong couple. I think they really do this marriage thing really well.
That's cool.
And he's a pilot.
Wow.
And so sometimes he'll commute a couple of hours to the airport that he flies out of. So if he has a 5 a.m. check-in, he has to get up and Yeah, at like 2 a.m.
That's crazy.
And my sister gets up with him and makes him lunch.
Wow.
And sends him on his way. And then she'll go back to bed.
Wow.
And now all of her kids are out of the house now. And she has always done that. Even when the kids were young and in the house, she always did that. And that's a sacrifice.
No, definitely.
And certainly not something that I think her husband necessarily expected her to do. But I think, man, if we really think about ways that we can do that for our spouse and for our children, what a great cycle that begins.
Yeah.
You know, if we lead in that way, I think it has a snowball effect because then they recognize it and say, like, man, it makes them want to do something to go out of their way for you then and be intentional. So to me, it can only bring good things, I think.
Only good
if we're doing that. Right?
Yes.
So, all right, that's our new challenge for the week, I guess, Jayla. We're going to have to,
I'm already thinking.
Yeah, think of ways that we can be intentional too. And maybe a new way. Maybe you're already really great at it. Awesome. But I think there's always more that we can do for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Oh, this looks good.
Yeah, I liked it.
If you're enjoying this podcast, there are so many others you can go take a listen to. Head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. You'll be able to listen to all of the other great episodes that we have. We've talked about quite a few things. And if you have any questions for us, or if you'd like to make a comment on anything we said, feel free to do that. We'd love to chit chat with you guys. And
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks. We'll see you next time.
Bye.